So let's start with the absolute most important element of a successful eBay listing, and that is a keyword-rich, enticing title. Now it's got to be keyword-rich because when people look for a product, they typically type in a set of keywords that are related to your product. But you want to be sure that you're using as many of those keywords that people might type in your title, because this is how people are going to find your listing. It's also got to be enticing because you want them to click on your title versus somebody else's title. So you want to use a good combination of keywords that people are likely to type in, plus what I call some enticing words, words that are descriptive and that help sizzle your listing over somebody else's listing. You want to use all the spaces that eBay gives you, all 80 characters, because the more the better. The more keywords you have in your title, the more likely you are to show up for a variety of different keyword searches that people might type in. And the first few words are considered more relevant to the search on eBay. So be sure you put your most important keywords at the very beginning of that title. It's very, very important. The next element is photos that pop, and enough of them. In my opinion, photos are a huge part of your listing success. Most sellers don't give their eBay photos the time they deserve. They don't really give it a second thought. They just figure, oh, I'll just take some pictures and put it up and I'm done. You can make your photos stand out by brightening them and adding contrast. So if you've got Photoshop Elements, or even if you use a free tool called GIMP, G-I-M-P, you can increase the contrast and increase the brightness and sometimes even increase the sharpness, and you'll have photos that pop. The reason this is important is a lot of people search eBay by looking at the photos. And in some cases, with items that are much more visually attractive or visually interesting, you're going to want to have photos that are high contrast and bright. That just helps people decide to click your listing versus somebody else's listing. It's a very, very important part of getting it right. The next element is the right attitude. You see, some listings have terms and conditions that come across as too grumpy. They might have like a mile-long set of terms and conditions. If you do this, then you're going to suffer this, or if you do this, I'm not going to issue a refund. And they just have so many terms and conditions that it sounds like the seller is a grump. Really, that's the best way I can put it. It sounds like they're just angry. That doesn't sound like a very conducive attitude towards making a sale. Your listing's terms and conditions should be very matter-of-fact and simple, and they should be friendly. So you should be sure that in everything you're doing, you've got a friendly attitude, and especially in the spoken word, where things can be misconstrued often, you want to be sure that it's clear, you're here, you're helpful, you're friendly, you're here to help them. And then finally, the element of successful listings is the right listing format, whether you choose an auction format or the buy it now fixed price format. We discussed this in session 1, but be sure that you pay careful attention to this because it's so important that you use the right listing format in your listings.